should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And good morning to all our South Shore neighbors and beyond, because people listen to us beyond South Shore. Oh. My name is Melissa Wallace, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. I am joined live and in studio today by Sue Bollinger.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Thanks for joining me today.
I'm so glad to be here.
I know you are.
It's a beautiful sunny day.
It is a beautiful sunny day, and you have a very busy day in real estate, which is fantastic to hear.
Open houses all day.
Open houses all day. We'll get into where you're going to be today, but Sue, you are a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate. But why don't you reintroduce yourselves to all of our listeners in case they haven't caught one of your last shows?
Absolutely. My name is Sue Bollinger. I'm a full-time realtor at Boston Connect Real Estate. I've been helping people buy and sell throughout the South Shore and somewhat beyond for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So, so I've been with Boston Connect since pretty much the beginning, like 1 year in.
Yeah.
So,
we're coming up on 15 years.
15 years. Can you imagine?
Yeah, 15 years. I know we're going to do a little soiree. 15 years of Boston Connect and also 100 years of our building.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it is a beautiful building.
It is. Yeah. We get a lot of compliments on it, and it's deceiving from the outside. So we bought this building here in the center of Pembroke. Oh gosh, in 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so 6 years ago, and did some renovations right away.
Yes. Yeah.
And even a new septic, everything, and we were in like 28 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
crazy.
And now I feel like this is like such a home to so many.
Yeah.
Like everybody who comes here loves it.
Everyone who comes in here is like, wow, I never knew this was here, or I didn't think that this is what it would look like inside.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, welcome to our home.
We have some really great client events here too.
Yeah, we do. I know, and you participate in like all of them. So
I know.
You're like, yeah, you want to do that? Sign me up.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to invite people back here because it's very comfortable here. So and people are comfortable.
And this year we did for the first time a Mother's Day event.
Oh yeah,
that was really successful.
Mother's Day was
and
great.
We do an ice cream social in the summertime. We do our Halloween stuff virtually. It's just easier, everybody wants to lug a pumpkin around,
right?
jack-o'-lantern,
that is a fun contest.
Or their
stay tuned for the contest. People should pay attention because that's a fun one.
It used to be like just the dog costume, but then I was getting like the first picture I got last year for the Halloween like dog costume contest was a turtle. A turtle dressed up. So I was like, okay, we have to extend it to like every pet.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be more inclusive this year because I got a lot of cats and everything. So
you can't really dress up a fish, but you could probably put something on a tank.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you could probably, and then you'll just casually take a picture as it drives by.
Yeah,
the sticker on the tank. But anyways, yeah, we do. And then of course our huge event that we do every year is our Pictures with Santa and our holiday open house. So,
yes.
But yeah, no, we love having people here.
We do great client events. Yeah. So
really great client events, and you guys do an awesome job putting it all together and inviting your clients, and every year they keep getting bigger and bigger.
They do get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we love that. So we want to have another party this year. So as soon as we finalize all the details, we'll be inviting all of you, all of our listeners,
Yes.
to our office to celebrate us.
Yeah.
Yeah, celebrate
Come
us
take a look at the
in the building.
building and the radio studio up
Yeah.
here, and yeah, that'd be fun.
Oh yeah, come on upstairs and listen to, or take a tour of our radio studio that you listen
Yeah.
to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do we have Tim in studio? Oh, we might.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Tim, or not.
If you're there.
Hello, good morning. Good
Hi,
morning.
good morning.
Hi, I'm here.
How's your
yes.
Saturday?
So far, so good. Beautiful weather out. Yeah, no
Yeah.
complaints.
It's gonna be a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
Is tomorrow gonna be nice too?
Not so nice.
Not so
Not so
much.
nice.
Yeah, I
No.
heard it might rain.
Yeah, humidity's creeping in. In the morning is going to be a little messy, but the afternoon we'll see some peaks of sunshine, a little on the humid side. But then after tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, humidity drops again. But yeah, little rumble of thunder and stuff in the morning, and maybe something late in the day. But hey, it's New England. It's summertime.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think today is a good day for me to be doing my open houses then. and
Yeah.
tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Absolutely, yes. Sunny weather. Open the doors up. Get them in.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
have to come by and say hi to Sue at all of her stops today. But Tim,
Do we call her Stop and Sue? No.
Stop and Sue.
That might not sound so great.
No.
Something derogatory.
Yeah, no. Let's be good.
Stop by and say hi to Sue. That could be
Yes,
the
yes.
Stop
Yeah.
by and say hi to Sue. We'll say that. We are going to get into our discussion. This is a real estate show. But
It's
if you
not,
have,
they're lying.
I
It's
know.
not. No, don't listen to no, it really is.
But if you want to join in on the discussion, you can call or text Tim at the studio, 781-837-4900. We are live on all of our socials as well, so be sure to follow Boston Connect Real Estate, McNamara Horton Group on Facebook and Instagram. We're also live on YouTube and I don't know, somewhere else, everywhere. You can
All
find
over
us
the place.
everywhere.
Yeah.
At some point, you can find us. But hi, we're waving to you, so you can interact with us on there as well. Okay, Sue. We tend to always do a show that like what's going on in your business, and I feel like I do a lot of our shows on home inspections because
Yeah.
I feel like you have a strong opinion about home inspections.
Well, that's true. It's
yeah.
because I've traditionally been, well, I am a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm both, honestly. I do both, but like I love working with buyers. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things to do. And so I end up having a lot of, obviously home inspections. But, the thing is that, and we've talked about this before, but I strongly feel that you should never waive a home inspection. The good news for buyers
Yeah.
is that in October of this year, a new law will go into effect that makes it so that buyers really can't waive they can't be forced to waive their home inspection.
Yeah.
So, if they choose not to do one, they choose not to do one, but it's not going to be part of the contract to not do one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're actually going to have Amy Masfer on the show. She came into the office and did a presentation with a home inspector and just sort of went through what the new law is going to be. It keeps getting pushed. So it was
Yes.
supposed to already be in effect, but
yeah.
we have to have all these forms changed, even though we had them all changed last year with the
Yes.
NART settlement and everything. So
Yeah.
we have the state has a little bit more work to do before our work changes, but I mean it's going to be a great thing for buyers, and that element in your offer is, oh, you need to move closer.
Okay.
Your
you go.
element in your offer of oh yeah, we're going to have a home inspection or not is going to be taken out, so the seller won't really know if you're going to be having one until after your offer is accepted. So,
Right.
that means that a seller isn't going to say, okay, I automatically want to eliminate every offer that doesn't have a home inspection. So there's strong opinions on both sides. I think it really depends on whether or not you're primarily a listing agent or a buyer's agent. But
Right.
But there's good and bad with everything. So
there is, but like I told the story before on one of the other shows that we did, but I had a buyer who had great finance. They weren't financing, they had cash to buy a house, and it was really competitive. and they were like, well, should we waive the home inspection? Or, there's two females, and they didn't really want to waive it
Yeah.
because they're not tradespeople. They don't know enough about buying a home. And what happened is they got a copy. The sellers had previously done a home inspection a couple years before because they had just bought the house 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
And so they did they asked for a copy of the home inspection report. They got a copy of the home inspection report, and
From the seller.
the seller detailed out all of the items that they had fixed, and
Yeah.
it was most of the items on the list.
Yeah.
And so they felt comfortable. They waived the inspection.
In theory, this is great.
It sounded great.
They saved money.
They saved money.
They got somebody else's home inspection report.
And they got the successful offer,
Yeah.
and they bought the house. And then they went and had the chimney inspected.
Yeah.
And then found out that the chimney was leaning away from the house and needed to be rebuilt.
But
And
what's the other element of that the seller knew?
the seller knew.
Yeah.
This because the reason we know this is because they happened to go to the same contractor
Yeah.
to have them
How
look
wild
at the
is
chimney.
that?
And they said, well, we just told the seller, the people who owned the house like 6 months ago. We just told them. And so anyways, like they ended up, they've got it fixed. They could have sued. They didn't, but they could have sued, if they wanted to. They're just really nice people and just aren't Sue happy. So they did it and they just got it fixed. But it's a buyer beware. You should do a home inspection. They're very important. You don't want to, this is a huge investment. You don't want to miss out on, important details.
Let's backtrack a little bit. So let's talk about what a home inspection actually is.
Yeah.
So I know you're very passionate about them, and you don't advise any of your clients, which you shouldn't be advising your client to not have one anyways, because
Absolutely.
you wouldn't want that liability.
Yeah.
I would never want that liability.
Absolutely.
But let's talk about what a home inspection actually is and what goes on during them. What are they looking for?
So a licensed home inspector in Massachusetts, there's I'm trying to think of the trade group that they belong to. They're not allowed to tell you the price of it to fix anything. But what they do is they go through, they're a general contractor license, and they go through the entire house. They have a checklist, and they go through every single item. They check your heating, your air conditioning. They check all the systems of the house. They check to make sure that there's no pest infestations. They check on, windows and roof and, all of the major systems of the house, even the minor ones, but just they show you how to work things. Okay, well, here's the filter for the heating system. This is how you take out the filter and replace it every month. Or, just simple things like that. They talk to you about the
You
light.
have to do that every month?
Well, it depends on the system.
I was like, wait a minute, what?
But you should be changing your filters because, you want clean air.
I might have to go do that when I get home. Oopsies.
So it's really important that how do you shut off the water? The water that comes into the house. You should know how to shut that off in the event of an emergency.
Yeah.
I went to show a house once and it was like a bank-owned house or whatever, and the water wasn't shut off, and a pipe burst or something right where water comes into the house, and water was pouring into the basement, and the basement was filling up. So you should know how to shut off, how to shut it off at the street, how to shut it off at the house. A home inspector will show you those things.
Mark McNamara showed me those.
Yes.
I was like, I did ask him, I was like, and where's the water shut off in my house? And so he's like, all right, let's go downstairs. And he showed me, and he's like, this is, there's a couple different knobs I have down there. And he's like, well, that's to the spigot outside, and this one's to the spigot in the front of the house. So I'm like, okay. So when I turned the water on to outside this year, I was like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I can turn the water on and off.
Exactly. I know how to winterize my pipe.
Yeah.
Well,
Mark McNamara showed me.
That's the thing, is we have our own Mark McNamara in the office to help us, answer.
I know, we're
questions.
spoiled.
We kind of are spoiled.
He's probably like, lose my number at this point, everybody, because we're like, what does this do?
Exactly.
How does it? What do you think about this? And how much would it be to replace this? So we thank you, Mark McNamara.
Yeah, he's awesome. He really is awesome.
Oh gosh, but okay, yeah. So it's not just about See, I feel like the misconception about home inspections is they're meant to figure out what's wrong with the house, when really I feel like it's more of an education tool.
Exactly. It's not meant you're not supposed to use it to negotiate a new price.
Yeah.
You're supposed to use it to make sure that the house that you're buying is solid and you can handle,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything that the house needs. So, like sometimes there'll be a few things broken, but they're not expensive
Mhm.
items. Like
Mhm.
maybe there's, I don't know, maybe I don't know, a pipe needs to, is leaking or
There's a
something, or
there's a
some
little leak
small.
underneath the. Yeah, I just remember, during Mary's maternity leave, I was helping Sharon a little bit, and I remember in one of her listings, they did a home inspection, and it could be like it's all about perception.
Right.
So
That's
it
very true.
it could to some people be like this big thing, and I don't like water. When it comes to water, I'm very nervous. Make sure all faucets are shut off before I go to bed. Like I don't want water
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So in this home inspection report, it said, oh, there's a leak underneath the sink in the kitchen, and so we're like, all right, we'll send over McNamara Plumbing.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, just needed like a new, I don't know,
Right.
something that goes in the drain that makes the water, not come out the sides of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so that was fixed.
Yeah.
He was there 10 minutes.
And
And
honestly, the home inspector makes the difference too. Like
yeah.
I've been to home inspections where where I represented the seller, and the home inspector was like, he opens up underneath the kitchen sink and is like, "Well, look at this. Clearly, there was a major leak here because
Yeah.
blah blah blah." Well, if you're presenting it like that, the question isn't was there a major leak. The question is, did they fix the major leak?
Mm-hmm.
So does it matter that there was a major leak if it's been fixed?
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
know what I mean?
that's the other part of our show is we're going to talk about things that come up during a home inspection, but also what could we do to prevent those issues from coming up, and what can we do to rectify
Yes.
those issues, whether it's remediation or anything like that, which we will get into that. But I feel like some people think it's more of a deal breaker versus a negotiation issue,
Right. Right.
which it's really not. It should be educational. I don't think anybody would really want to waste their money on a home inspection if they weren't serious about buying a house.
Absolutely.
So that gets into, who pays for the home inspection. So it's the buyer that hires an inspector that comes in. Oh, you were both spoiled. Oh yeah, with with Mark McNamara.
Oh.
I'm assuming that's what's
I was like,
that.
who wrote that?
I think that's Sharon, but it's saying that we wrote it.
Yeah.
So I think it's Sharon.
Maybe it's Sharon.
Yeah,
Spoiled.
we are spoiled. But yeah, so it's, who hires and pays for the inspector. It's the buyer. They're, purchasing a home, and they've decided to do a home inspection. It's not just a home inspection. They can do a pest inspection. They can do a water
Yeah.
test and things like that. Excuse me, I have to cough. I apologize.
But it's really good to have. You want to make sure you have a licensed home inspector. It shouldn't be just anybody in the trades.
Mhm.
It should be somebody who does this, like they're licensed to do it. They know what list to go through.
Yeah.
They're not just looking at one specific, like just the plumbing, for example. They know about the roof. They know about, the HVAC. They know about, other items in the house, pest inspections.
Mhm.
You want somebody who overall,
Yeah. Overall.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Get a little bit closer.
but I am practically kissing this.
You gotta kiss it.
If she's on the mic, Melissa, then turn her level up, please.
Yep.
Okay.
So okay, common home inspection issues. What do you think? I mean, you've done so many home inspections over your career. What are the most common things that come up during a home inspection?
Well, we can start with the roof,
Yeah.
right? So, you want to make sure that the roof is not going to fail you in the next 5 years at
Yeah.
least. You want to know that it's got some life left to
Mhm.
it. I've been to inspections where the roof is like, you can look at it, you see like this peeling shingles, and you can tell that it's doesn't have a lot of life left. So
Mhm.
a good home inspector will be able to tell you how much life the roof has left.
Yeah.
You don't want to have leaks, because what happens is you get a leak and then you end up with mold in the attic because of the leak, and you end up with stains all over your ceiling, and it's just not healthy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a major thing.
I know, it's the water thing. I don't like
It's the water
water.
thing. Exactly. It's true. Yeah. So it's important to find out, how long. And so, I mean, I've been to home inspections where, the roof needs to be replaced or whatever. So what do you do in that case? Maybe what you do, instead of like, walking away from a house that you absolutely love, maybe instead what you do is, you negotiate with the seller and say, okay, well, this is going to cost us some money. Would you consider either reducing the price or giving us a credit toward, the the roof later, when we buy the house? Maybe there's some sort of a closing credit that you can get to accommodate that.
Yeah.
So
But and then there's also the part where it's like, okay, it is what it is. Like this is what the price is, type of thing. So again, it's not a
priced according
negotiation.
to its condition.
Yes, it's not a negotiation really, like to reduce the price, but the listing agent can come back and say, yeah, the price is according to the condition that it's in, and that's what the condition of the roof is.
That's absolutely true. But most times when that happens, there's some sort of a disclosure written in the agreement, written into the MLS listing. Hey, this is priced according to its condition. It might need a couple of things, but as long as you're okay with fixing it, in which case, then maybe what you do instead is you do what's called a 203K loan, and you get a little bit of money at close. You just hire a roofing contractor to get a price, and after closing, you repair the roof with the funds, and then it gets built into your loan.
Yeah.
So there are ways
There are
around
options.
it. There are options to fix these things where you don't have to ask for a price reduction or negotiate with the seller. But in most cases, you do know about it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like,
and you have to qualify for things like that.
You do have to
anything going
qualify.
out. Yeah, anything going outside. My question with that is, would you, your offer gets accepted as it is, with the loan that you present to the seller. If there's a change in that loan, do you have to tell that to the seller?
You should tell it to the seller, but what you do is you say, because you're doing the home inspection before the purchase and sale is signed.
Yeah.
So in Massachusetts, we have a 2-step process. Most other states do one contract, and then they have the home inspection, and they have to renegotiate items. But in Massachusetts, you do an offer, then you have approximately 7 to 10 days to do your home inspection, and then you sign the purchase and sale agreement. So what you do is you say to the seller, well, we didn't realize it needed a new roof. We still want to buy the house. Let's see if we can get a different type of financing to cover the cost of the roof. Are you okay with that, Mr. or Mrs. Seller? And then generally speaking, they're not going to care as long as they get their price, right? So, that's how you do it.
An inspection that is not covered in a home inspection is Title V.
Right.
So that's separate. So, Sharon, for some reason, loves septic systems. So she'll have to do another show soon about septic systems, because she just loves them. I don't know why she knows so much about them, but she does. And that is a separate inspection. So that is something that is primarily paid for by the seller.
Yes.
And they have their septic system repaired. However, if for some reason it fails and the seller is not in a position to pay for a new system, there are workarounds for that as well.
Absolutely.
For a buyer.
Same kind of loan. You can get, you can do a 203K loan.
Yeah.
And so, what people don't also realize is it's not mandatory for a seller to have a passing Title V. It just is, the fact is if we can get a loan without the Title V. And so sellers generally take care of that. But if you're a cash buyer, you can certainly buy a house with a failed septic and close on it without the Title V. Because it really is on, it is one of those, you can sell anything you want as is.
You'll want to put a new septic system in, though.
Generally speaking, if you're a seller's agent and you're a seller, you'll want to make sure that you have, it reduces the worth of your home if you don't replace the septic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's a significant reduction in its market value. So it's worthwhile to do.
Also, when you were saying that, I realized that, we always say to people like, they come to us and ask, okay, if I do this, will I get a return on investment? Will I do
Yeah.
this? And our comment is always like, or our question is always, okay, well, if you're going to spend that much money on like a new kitchen, but you're gonna like, are you planning on selling now, or are you going to enjoy it a little bit?
Right.
Things like that. But with a septic system, if a seller is paying for a brand new septic system, they're not enjoying it. They're just enjoying the sale of their home.
Right. Exactly.
That is something that they don't get to enjoy, but they're enjoying the sale of their home. So
That's right. But it does significantly increase your
Yeah.
because nobody wants to live through replacing a septic. It's costly.
Yeah.
It's an expensive item.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know we're talking about home inspections, but that was just something that popped into my head.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's it's a good point.
There are some electrical things that could come up during a home inspection. So outdated or unsafe wiring. So that includes knob and tube, aluminum wiring, overloading outlets.
Yeah, so I sold a house not too long ago in Pembroke. It was like a few years ago, and it was this beautiful old like 1800s house that had been completely renovated.
Wow.
And they had redone all of the electrical, so we thought. And then they did the home inspection, and one little tiny piece of knob and tube was still active in like an attic crawl space somewhere in the corner of the
home
house.
inspector found it.
The home inspector found it. So,
Oh my
like
gosh.
these things do happen. So you want to make sure, and I guess the question is why is that an issue? Well, knob and tube, can't even get insurance now. Or if you get insurance, it's like you have to pay much more because it's knob and tube. So you want to, again, it increases the value of your house or stabilizes the value of your house, I guess, if you make sure that you don't have knob and tube wiring in your house. It should be up to date into code if you can help it.
I know that Sharon likes the idea of them. What do you think about a pre-home inspection? So a seller doing a home inspection on their own home before putting it on the market.
I mean, there's pros and cons to it. And the pros are you can fix any potential items, up front, which is a great pro. But one thing that I have noticed is no two home inspectors are alike.
Yes, that's how I feel.
Yeah, they never catch 100%. There's always something missing.
Yeah.
And so you might do a home inspection and they might completely miss the fact that maybe the fan isn't vented correctly out of the attic. Maybe it looked like it was and he missed it or something. There's always like one little thing. And so the other piece that's dangerous about that is once you have to disclose every single item. So you just keep in mind that if you do a pre-home inspection, you're going to have to disclose any material defects of the house that you discover at the home inspection.
Yeah.
So, as long as you're okay with that, you might find out anyways when the buyer goes to do it. So
but I agree with you. I feel like everybody is different. There's no two inspectors that are the same.
Right.
And, especially if you don't use the same home inspector, then they can come up with different things. So I feel like, you could spend some money on getting a home inspection as a seller and doing those repairs. But then if somebody came back and was like, oh, and this too, I'd be like, oh, really? Come on.
Exactly.
I'd feel defeated. I'd be like, well, I already did this.
Yeah, exactly. I just spent, all this money on mold remediation and I fixed the roof and I vented it. And now you're telling me that my sills need to be replaced too. It can be,
or that you have lead paint or that you have radon or things like that you didn't test for.
Right.
But here's someone kind of like, I'd just rather it not be my responsibility.
So the other side of it is if you don't do a pre-inspection and then the buyer does the home inspection, well, maybe you just fix the items that are important to that particular buyer. Maybe that particular buyer is like, look, I'm going to do the radon after closing because I want to make sure that the pipe goes up, the back of the house, not the front or not the side, or goes through the garage instead of on the outside of the house. And I want to do it a very specific way, and I don't want the seller touching it.
Yeah,
because they won't do it the way I want it done.
Oh yeah,
that's
a good idea.
So sometimes it's better to wait and let the buyer decide what they want to fix.
Yeah.
So it just
Well,
really
also
depends.
in that scenario, you could get a credit.
You could get a
So
credit.
like, you know, with
True.
with a mitigation system for radon, you can get a credit instead of having the seller install that system,
Yeah.
where, you know, you could just say like, okay, you know, this doesn't bother me today, but it may bother me in 5 years when I go to finish the basement,
Right.
and things like that. So
Yeah, just different things. So, maybe, for radon, for example, it costs, maybe it's the seller might give like a $1,200 credit, but they want to spend the buyer wants to spend 2,000 and do it a
yeah,
certain way to
yeah,
hide the pipe.
yeah,
So it makes sense to wait,
yeah.
and then the seller doesn't have to go through the aggravation
Of having it installed when
because
they're
it's
still
hard.
living there.
Yeah, it's hard enough to pack.
Yeah, seriously.
So
Um, yeah, so a radon test can be done during your home inspection as well.
yes,
So
absolutely. Yeah, and then so radon is one thing. Another thing you want to think about is plumbing concerns, poor water pressure. So I had that once where, like some people don't think to even check the water pressure
yeah,
on, and I had it once where like they had a well,
mm-hmm.
and the well wasn't strong enough to give good water pressure.
Oh,
And sometimes you need to get a
was that did you figure that out during the home inspection or the walkthrough?
It was actually before the house went on the market. It had
Oh,
very low water pressure.
oh,
So that's one of the things you want to check, because
yeah,
if that's important to you and the water pressures, maybe you have a well with a pump that doesn't work very well and you can't even put an irrigation system in the yard
yeah,
because it doesn't, water pressure doesn't hit a sprinkler.
yeah. It's like, what?
So
What do you want me to do?
So this particular person put in a new well, and
Mm-hmm.
that covered the pressure. Like they had to put
Oh,
in like a
okay.
2-inch well instead of, I think they had like a small, I don't know what it was. It was bad.
Yeah. Was this
So,
your listing or did you have the buyer?
listing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but like that's important. You want to check the water pressure. You want to if there is a well in the property, you want to test the water,
Mm-hmm.
because certain loans will require, like an FHA loan, you have to test the water to make sure it's what's called potable,
Yeah.
and that you can actually drink the water.
Mhm.
So that's something that a home inspector can help you with, or you can do on your own as well. You can just bring it to a local lab and have them
Yeah.
test it. But um, and then you want to make sure that everything's vented correctly. A home inspector will be able to tell you if the bathrooms are vented correctly and that kind of thing. So
Yeah. Well, getting to the vented correctly. So when they look in the attic, if they see a mold-like substance,
yes,
so they're not saying, "Oh, you
usually what
have
they say.
mold."
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, they're not a mold specialist. They can say, "You have mold-like substance in here," and then you can go ahead and get some quotes on how to, well, first identify it
yeah,
and remediate the issue that's in there. But also, it's not just about getting rid of the mold; it's how can we prevent the mold from coming
exactly,
back.
exactly,
So a lot of the
exactly.
times it is the ventilation in the bathroom,
Yeah,
and making sure that, you know, that's being ventilated correctly if
right.
there's a fan in there or anything like that.
And so the thing is okay, like people panic, like, oh my gosh, there's mold in the attic. What do we
Yeah.
do? There's always a solution. People have been living in these houses and surviving. It's not the end of the world.
Mhm.
So you just have to think of it like, okay, somebody's living here now. They're
Yeah.
alive. They're not
And
sick.
a lot of the times people are like, "What? There
Right.
is?"
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
they're surprised.
Exactly, exactly. So then, we have, one of the things that when you hire a buyer's agent, you should always make sure that they have a good team behind them.
Mhm.
And then I have to say, like, in our office, we have some really good partners, like
Mhm.
trades partners who
Yeah.
we can, recommend, and then, call. Oh, you're gonna have to hit that thing.
Yeah.
We can recommend, and then we have a couple of really great mold remediation experts that can go in. They remediate the mold, and and then they also will recommend what you need to do. Okay, now you have to take the attic fan, I mean, the bathroom fan, and vent it correctly through, the soffit or the roof or whatever they have to do so that it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
And then after they remediate, they come back and they do a sampling of the air to make sure that the mold
Like
is
an air
gone.
quality
An
test?
air
Yeah.
quality test. So a good molds person will know to do that. It's not the end of the world. Oftentimes the seller will pay for a fix like that because it's a safety item.
Yeah.
So the thing that I always recommend in a home inspection is, to negotiate are really safety items like, does the heat work? Can you get hot water? Is there mold in the attic?
Mm-hmm.
Is the roof leaking? Like major systems.
Well, structural too.
Or structural.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like think about when you go into the basement, you can see like,
Yes.
oh, okay, well that's not attached to anything. Like
Right.
that beam's not attached to anything.
Oh my gosh, I went to a house once with some buyers, and the family they wanted a big family room in the basement, and they had taken out the lally columns.
Oh my god.
They're
lucky. Yeah.
Those are the lally columns are what holds up the house, in the basement. If you go down into your basement, you'll see them on the main beam that carries your house. And they just thought, oh, this thing is in my way. And they took it out. And they put in a family room.
I can't. But who went down? They didn't take it out themselves. Who went down there and took it out?
Well,
it's like, isn't it metal? Like, how did they get it out?
They just it's actually I think it's a concrete.
Oh, I'm thinking of the
It's just
the pole.
The pole
that
holds up the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they took it out.
gosh.
But like sometimes people will do work themselves on a house,
Yeah.
and they'll put in a family room. And then when you went upstairs to the room above it, there was a big dip in the floor. And
and I wonder why.
We walked in and I'm like, what's this dip? I wonder what it is. And we went in the basement and found the lally column. So something like that is major.
Yeah.
That's not a minor. That's a major. And you want to negotiate that into your contract.
If you want to move forward.
If you want to move forward. Like that's something, you don't want your house to fall down.
Yeah, you don't want your house to cave in. Oh
Exactly.
my gosh.
So structural issues are a big deal.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that, and honestly, if this foundation cracks,
that could be settling.
Yeah.
That could be because the house was settling. You see that a lot. Like even with new construction, it's like the house is breathing, it's settling, it's brand new.
Yeah.
There might be a crack. It's not the end of the world. There are some things that just happen.
Right.
Like, and there's not really any other excuse other than it happens in real estate. It happens in the world. So
yeah, sometimes you get. I lived in a house. My very first house had like a big crack in the basement, and it was a completely dry basement. It just happened to be a crack, and then we had to there's a way to fill the crack professionally, so that it's like with integrity, so that you're not So there's always a workaround. I have to say, I can remember Steve Cook, who now is retired, the home inspector, Steve Cook.
Yeah.
He was an amazing home inspector. And I can remember going to a house once with him, and he pushed on the kitchen wall. He would always push on all the walls just to make sure that the walls weren't bowing or didn't move.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a simple thing, but a lot of home inspectors leave that step out for some reason.
Yeah.
But he did it every time. And I can remember going in, and
I can only imagine.
Pushed on the wall, the whole wall moved, and we're like, what is going on? And so he was like pushing on the wall, and we went down, and the whole foundation under it was crumbling. He's like, see, that's why the wall's moving up there.
Oh,
you have to fix this foundation. And then but he was a master at that. He used to find all the bowing walls.
Yeah.
And
did your clients move forward with that house?
Not with that house, no.
I remember when I was looking at houses, I went down into the basement. I think Mary was at the showing with me, and I had asked, like, oh, have you ever gotten water in the basement? Again, water's my thing.
Yes.
And they said no. Well, we get down there, and half the drywall is cut out. The bottom half of the drywall is cut out. I wonder why. Is it because you had water down here?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, the sump pump didn't work. And I'm like, so you lied.
Yeah.
So you lied.
Exactly. You absolutely lied. It's got a sump pump and everything.
Yeah. As soon as we walked down there, we were like, what? Yeah. And then there was one house that I did look at. And I know Sharon and Mary went to that. I think Mark ended up coming to that too. It was very early on, and you could tell that there was a water issue at some point because it had all been redone in the basement, but you could still see the line of where they cut the drywall and everything. So I did go to town hall for that, and they had filed a claim and everything with their insurance about water and things like that. But like in the unfinished part, everything was on pallets, and I was like, nope.
I guess you get water.
Yeah, I guess you get water.
So lesson learned, if you go to an open house or you go to visit a house and you see in the basement that half of the drywall is missing on the bottom half, that's your first clue.
Everything's on pallets. It smells musty.
Yes.
There might have been a water issue at some point.
Yeah, there might have been. Even if they say no, I would suspect it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I mean, things happen. Like, again, even that, not in the world. Let's figure out what happened.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
even at my house, I hate water so much. But at some point, there was a clog in one of my drains, and the washing machine overflowed.
Yeah.
So I came home one day, and there was water all over the basement floor. But Mark again came over and taught me.
We need you again.
He's like, you're gonna stay with me and we're gonna do this together. And we did, and figured out, you know, he snaked the entire house. He opened up the septic and everything. We were doing the whole thing, and I'm going back and forth like, okay, the water's draining, okay, now it's not, and everything, you know. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, welcome to homeownership. But that was why there was water on the floors, because my washing machine overflowed. There was a leak. I mean, there was a clog somewhere in the house. But like, so you know what I did? I changed the toilet paper that we use.
Oh, there you go.
That was the issue.
That's the issue right there.
Yeah, because you're using like 12 ply.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's not great for your pipes.
Who knew?
And I learned that day. I said,
12
okay.
ply.
No, you know.
Wow. There's usually like 3 or 4 at the most, but 12, jeez.
But those are things that like
half the sheet.
Those are things that like you hadn't really thought about. I mean, as a first time home buyer, I'm not thinking like, oh, this type of toilet paper will be good for my pipes, or this isn't, you know.
Don't use paper towels in your toilet.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, don't do that.
It will ruin your septic. Just helpful tip.
But so getting back to my point is like, you know, that happened. Yeah, there was some water on the floor. It came from the washing machine. There was you know, I keep wanting to say leak, but it wasn't a leak.
Yeah.
There was a blockage somewhere in the house, and the problem was fixed.
Right.
There.
Well, and so that's the thing. That's the important difference is, you know, was it just like a small leak, or was it a major?
Yeah.
You know,
but I'm not going to go, if I went to go sell my house today, I wouldn't say, oh yeah, my basement flooded one time.
Right.
It was a puddle.
It was a puddle.
It was a little puddle in front of my, well, of course, to me in the moment, I was like, this is the end of the world.
Yeah.
Why did I buy this house?
Absolutely.
But I was like, okay, I need to calm down. Mark was probably like, okay, he did say, do you want a shovel? And I said, no. He's like, all right, I'll be back.
But, you know, I have to say too, though, that like sometimes having a sump pump isn't necessarily the end of the world. Like, I think if you live in an area where your basement floods all the time, it's one thing. But like even my house, I have a family room down in my basement. It's like the kids' playroom. They've used it all along. But when we first bought the house, there was this like major, I don't know, rainstorm that lasted for 5 days. People might remember. It was, I feel like it was back in 2009.
Yeah.
2010, somewhere in that. And everybody's basement flooded. We lived next to a bog, and the bog, like somehow, it overflowed.
Yeah.
And when it overflowed, it raised the water table for our neighborhood.
Wow.
It was just like a one-time thing. So we put it in a sump pump, you know, and then we finished the basement. We haven't had a drop since.
Yeah.
The pump never even goes off. It's there,
but
it never even goes off. So like, I think it's important to ask the questions.
Yeah.
You know, could it potentially flood again? Well, if we get one of those major storms.
Yeah. Anything is possible.
Anything's possible, but like, it's not a wet basement. It's a very dry basement. We never get water.
Yeah.
So I think you have to ask the questions. It's really important to know the history of the house.
So. We have so many other things that we could go over too. So, you know, we just talked about structural issues, HVAC systems. So you said dirty filters. I have some things that I need to take care of when I get home. Inadequate airflow, outdated systems. So again, it's also an opportunity for you to sort of investigate how old some of the systems are.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times there'll be like a tag or something on like a heating system that says, okay, this was inspected or installed in X date.
Right.
So you get an idea of also the maintenance that the seller has been doing and
Yeah.
taking care of. So the more maintenance that goes into certain things, the longer the life expectancy is of them.
Absolutely. One thing, as part of your home inspection process that you should do, I just want to mention this, always go to the town hall
Yeah.
and check the permits.
Mhm.
It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a client last year that went to buy this cute little beach house and it had been completely renovated. I mean, I'm talking like brand new kitchen, brand new bathroom. They put in like a new laundry room. Like everything was brand spanking, the electrical, everything. And so we went to the town hall and, I directed her to go to the town hall because as realtors, we're really not supposed to get the information. We're supposed to bring the client there. So I helped her get the information and it turned out they hadn't pulled a single permit.
Wow.
Not one single permit. And so we set off a red flag at the town hall, unfortunately, for that seller. And then the town hall went there, knocked at their door, said to call them. They never did. And they actually condemned the home because they hadn't pulled a single permit.
Wow.
They didn't want them selling the house to someone who wouldn't know. And the town actually prevented them from selling it.
Wow.
So it's really, my buyer obviously got out of the deal because they
What
weren't
town was this?
in Wareham.
Wareham. Okay.
Yeah. So, but it was the cutest little house and it looked perfect. But, it's really important that you check the town and make sure that, that they pulled the proper permits.
Wow.
That's a really important step.
That is crazy. And Tracy Grady, who's a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate as well, she does the show with me when we talk about permits. And she's always said, like, there's not the permit police, but there's always a but.
There always is
but
a but.
Sounds like there is a permit police over there.
Well, there was a permit police, but mainly because we notified them, like, hey, we're trying to buy that. She's trying to buy a house and there's no permits. Have you inspected it? Nobody had inspected it. There's, when you renovate a kitchen and put in new plumbing, you have to have it inspected by the town. It's part of the process and it hadn't been inspected. So.
I know we only have like 4 minutes left in the show, but another thing I wanted to go over was pest and rodent infestation.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you can do a pest inspection that is specific. It's an inspection specifically for finding pests.
Yeah.
And, not to get too much into it because we don't have much time, but, there are signs of, rodents being in your home. So there's droppings, there's, if they are gnawing at the wires or insect damage,
right?
Things like that. A lot of the times, if it's in an area that you don't really go to, like, I don't spend a ton of time in my basement, but so if there was rodent dropping somewhere, it might be found by a home inspector. I'd be like, oh, goodness.
But again, this is another opportunity where, like, don't freak out because there's rodents, because this can happen in any house. Or don't freak out even if there's been termites. People get so freaked out by, oh my gosh, that they found termites in the house. Well, termites live in the ground, and so it's like they're gonna, of course, they're gonna try to come into your house. They see some wood. If they see an opportunity to come into your house, they're gonna try. The issue is to try to find a way to mitigate the problem rather than freak out. You just hire a company to come in and they put these little like wood things in the ground around the house where the termites will be drawn to that instead. And then there's ways to fix the problem that sometimes it's a little costly, sometimes it's not. But there's always a workaround, is my point.
Sometimes it's something as simple as they put the wood chips all the way up to the house and not have some sort of a barrier where like the termites are living in that mulch or wood chips or anything, and they're right up against the house. So of course they're going to just continue their journey into the house. So, peel that back a little bit, maybe put some rocks down, and not have it, pretty much around your house. But
99% of the cases it's fixable. I have seen a couple of cases where
the damage is just too much.
So much damage to the house that you probably should tear down the house.
Oh gosh.
But
well, that's a terrible
99%.
that's a terrible place to end the show.
Yeah, I know.
but
But I promise you, 99% of the time it's fixable.
Yeah.
So.
I wanted to give you a moment to give your contact information out to everybody before we talk about our open houses for this weekend.
Yeah, so my name is Sue Bollinger. I am a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, and I've been helping buyers purchase homes for the last 20 plus years. I stopped counting at 20. So, but if you'd like to contact me, my number is 508-317-5729. You can call the office as well, but me directly, 508-317-5729. S as in Susan, Bollinger at bostonconnect.com.
And where are you going to be today for your open houses? You have 2 of them.
So I'm going to be at our new construction, Sharon and Mary's new construction at Cushing Trails in Hanson. Great condo, new condos.
And
There's
you have
only
buyers in there, so
a couple left there. So you get over if you're interested.
Yep.
And then also I'm going to be at 199.
599.
I'm sorry, 599 Washington Street. I don't know where the one
Unit
came.
1.
Unit 1.
Yeah, there it is. Unit 1.
599 Washington Street, Unit 1, which is an amazing 1-bedroom, beautiful condo. Like everything is move-in. I mean, it's meticulous.
Move-in ready. If you're looking for something move-in ready in Pembroke, there
First
you go.
floor, move-in ready. You don't, no stairs. It's beautiful. And it comes with a garage.
And it comes with a garage. I was just going to say that.
Yeah. Also Sharon and Mary's.
Yeah. So join Sue Bollinger. Also, the Flynn team has 2 Fontana Way today from 11 to 12. So be sure to stop by there. It's 2 Fontana Way in Bridgewater. And then Sharon will be at Cochise Estates today and tomorrow from 10 to 2 in West Bridgewater. So be sure to stop by and say hi to her and look at some new construction. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Thank you, Tim, for doing the best ever, and Sue for joining me on the show. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood.